Aleichem now, viewers. This is our third installment of a series on Tefillah, the daily discussion about prayers, and our shiur is dedicated to the memory of Rabbi Hershel Reichman Shalom. I wanted to discuss today another concept of prayer which our sages have pointed out, and that's that the Anshe Knesset Agdola, the great Sanhedrin of the second Beit HaMikdash, who introduced the triple prayer of the day, Shachos, Mincha, Mariv, said that Tfilos Keneged Korbanos Tiknum, they use as a model for their institution of the triple prayer, morning, afternoon, and evening, the Korbanos, the sacrifices which are required daily in the Beit HaMikdash. There are really two daily sacrifices which must be brought. It's a mitzvah of Klal Yisrael. The Jewish people must bring a sacrifice in the morning, first sacrifice of the day, called the Korban Ola, the Korban Tamid. It's a sacrifice which gets completely consumed by the fire of the altar. It's an Ola, it goes up in the Eish, and it's Tamid, it's daily, every single day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. In the morning, it's the first Korban of the day. And the final Korban of the day, the final sacrifice of the day in the Beit HaMikdash, is the Korban Tamid Shel Beinu Abayim. And then, there's an afternoon sacrifice. That's the last one of the day. And then finally, at night, the fats of Korbanos, the Beit HaMikdash continues to operate at night, even though it's toned down. No new sacrifices, but anything left over from the course of the day is burnt and on the altar in the Beis HaMikdash, and for that they made the Tefillah of Mariv, the nighttime prayer. Now, I want to a little bit probe, and we should identify and meditate upon the concept of Tefillah as a korban. That prayer, Tefillah is b'makom korbanos tiknum. The prayers represent or they replace the sacrifices. In fact, there's a big discussion, that the sacrifices and the prayers, that one is in place of the other, and there's a connection between them. And it's very important for us to think about this. By the way, I would like to make a point that every one of our messages that we give in this series is a message which we should think about before we begin to pray, whether it's message A, B, C, whatever the message happened to be. Because this message, we think about this, will help us with our prayers, with our tefillah. So we want to talk about the relationship between tefillah and korban. And what exactly is that korban? First of all, the concept of the korban tamid, the daily sacrifice, is a concept of temidus, as the name of the korban is, of temidus, of steadiness, steadfastness, regularity. It's daily, which means as follows, that there's a certain fundamental connection which we human beings, especially Jews, have, and must have, and do have with our Creator. We are fundamentally connected to Him. First of all, we only exist because of His will, because He wills us to exist. If God forbid that will would cease, then we would cease. Second of all, He supports us. He supports us with all the environment in which we find ourselves in. So for us to ignore Him is shooting ourselves in the leg. It's like a person who actually ignores his own legs. He's walking around, he says, how do I walk around? He doesn't recognize that he has 2 feet. He doesn't consider himself having legs. He just seems, I get to wherever I go, but his legs are not taken care of. One day his legs will get an infection and he says, I have no legs. And he'll lose everything. We have to recognize the facts of our environment. And this is a temidus relationship. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the Borei Olam, is continuously, b'li heref, every second providing for us. It's a continuous thing. The Gemara actually says that based upon this concept of our continuous dependence upon our Creator, halavai sheyispal adam kol hayom kulo. Really, a person should pray all the time. Just in terms of shevach, giving thanks and praise for what we get. Every second we should be giving so much shevach. But it's impossible for a person to pray all the time. So the Torah, according to Rambam and Ramban, created a certain minimal, once a day or once in a crisis time. The Chachamim said Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov said they believe people should pray 3 times a day to give Shevach, to show our continuous dependence upon Him. So this is one concept of the Korban Tamid, that it's a steady, continuous, regular, repetitive. So we have to show that we have continuous dependence upon Him. That's number one. Number two, we have to demonstrate that we respond to this by being continuously and steadily, without any break, without any relief, dedicated to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, dedicated to Him and to His service, because He has created us, first of all, because He likes people, and He likes Jewish people especially, and He gives us special blessings in life. But beyond that, God wants us to be a partner with Him to improve this world, to bring out our godly nature, which is to do good.